All right, let's get your right hand in exactly the right place. This is a practice technique. I want to say that loud and clear right now. This is a practice technique, not a performance idea. Don't think about this when you're performing. Don't think about this when you're playing your etudes or your pieces. This is a warm-up activity that's going to work its way into your playing in a really, really positive way. Anytime anyone writes something for the clarinet to help you get better at the clarinet, it's pretty much just a skeleton. It's just a guide. It's what you're thinking as you practice it that is really where the benefit and the value of it is. And this is no different. But I want to make it really clear. It's not really about the notes, although these are the good ones to practice, believe me. But the idea is, it's what you're thinking about, what it is that you're paying attention to while you're doing it that is going to give you the benefit. So here it is. I call this Study for the Right Hand, a real creative title. I made it up myself. And it basically is this. We're going to practice some really easy notes and some intervals focusing on our right hand. Now, you all know that when you press these rings down on the right hand, they all move together. And one of the things we don't think about a lot is when our fingers are up, they're not in use. Where are they? And are they in a place that is best suited to get to where they need to be when it's time to go down? Because when they go down, they're making a note, obviously. So we want to make sure they're in the right position to play that note, to cover the hole entirely, and to get there in a way that we can make a nice, clean, smooth, light connection to the tone hole. So what we're going to do in this exercise is practice feeling these rings with our hand. We're not going to be covering the holes. Just put your hand so it's touching the rings, not pressing it. Feel those rings underneath your finger. We want to cover what's underneath these holes. So we want our fingers to be right above these holes when we're not using them. We don't want them to be too far away. They certainly can't be touching the rings when we are playing the clarinet. Let me make that perfectly clear. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we should practice having an awareness of where our fingers are when they're not in use, because a lot of times they'll go places we don't actually know where they are because we're not paying that much attention because we're paying attention to the holes that are closed. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play starting in this position with our fingers touching the rings, something really easy. In the exercise I've written out, I've put the tempo 60 to 88. So this is not technically challenging, but we have to think about our technique and figure out, okay, are we leaving, like we're playing C to B flat, are we leaving these other two fingers in the same place? And the rings are just going down, and then when we let that ring up to play the C, can we still feel those rings? Let's see. I'm doing pretty good. Let's do C to A. Pretty good. I'm also leaving my pinky touching the pinky keys, because that makes this easier for me. Something to think about. Maybe that'll work for you. Now we're going to go C to G. Now we're going to add the pinky key. And we're going to play a low E. And we're going to play it in this fashion. We're going to do what we just did as a review, and then we're going to go down to low E and back up to C. Let's see how it sounds. And my fingers are still touching the rings. This is going to make you a little bit out of tune. Your clarinet might feel a little stuffy. That's okay. Because again, we're not going to really do this. This is just to develop an awareness of where our fingers are. The next move is to do this all a register up. So we're going to do nothing more than press the register key, and do the same thing again. And now the whole thing, adding B. I put together this exercise to help somebody who's an excellent clarinet player who's having trouble with the accuracy of their pinky, and particularly the right one. The idea is that if our primary fingers, I'm going to call them, are in the right place, they know where they are, that's going to naturally put our pinky where it needs to be to effortlessly reach all the different keys. And so in this PDF that I want you to get, just by clicking it down below, has extensions. That's what we call it in the teaching biz, extensions to do more complicated versions of this so that you get practice all sorts of different contexts and orders in which you're going to play these notes. The idea underlying all of it is that we know where our fingers are when they're up, and we are keeping them in the right position. So when it's time to put them down, they don't move far and they don't move particularly hard. So we are getting a way to get consistency and cleanliness and evenness in our fingers when we pay this kind of attention to them. And again, you can do this with any kind of warm-up exercise. But this is definitely a warm-up exercise, because the other thing it's doing is it's giving us a chance to play, keeping our air really steady. And it's even better to have this opportunity when our fingers are so close and our instrument feels a little weird and resistant, which helps us really develop security with the elusive support that we need to play the clarinet. This should all be done like a mezzo piano, mezzo forte, but a solid airstream supporting that mezzo piano, mezzo forte. Because we don't want to force any of this out. When we play louder, we tend to put our fingers down harder, all these things. We want to develop these habits in a middle volume. So there it is. Go please and get this PDF, and it's going to help you remember all the things that we've gone over today, and it's going to remind you of all these instructions, because these instructions are things that you should be using in all of your warm-up ideas. Not necessarily these specific instructions, but this idea. It's not really just about the notes that we're playing when we are warming up, dealing with foundational ideas. It's really about what are we thinking about? What are we addressing? What are we developing in terms of a habit when we're doing this? So there you go. And by the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed, now's a good time. And go ahead and check out the Clarinet Ninja Dojo. This is a program designed for adult clarinet players who are trying to get everything they can out of their practice time and get everything they can out of their clarinet. This is where this comes from. This is where this was developed. And this is actually who it was developed for. So I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to let you know about the dojo. And most of all, I want you to use this to really make some progress on the clarinet in a way that maybe you never thought of before. It's powerful stuff. Thank you for letting me share it with you. I'll see you the next time.